I received a very interesting video response this morning from someone asking me why I was making the kind of comments that I'm making and what gave me the right to make those kind of comments, especially since I did not live on Prince Edward Island and was really not connected to the Confederation Center of the Arts in any way. I wish they would have asked me on one of my sites, because then I could have addressed it publicly, but since they chose to do it offline, I actually think it's a good point, and I'd like to tell you how I feel about that. Well, there's a couple of things, and one is exactly what is the Confederation Center of the Arts, and exactly what is the Charlottetown Festival. If it is a regional theater to entertain people living on PEI, then they're right. I have no right to make any comments. You can do whatever you want in your own regional theater. But if you've been following the video thread, you will see that I do not see the Confederation Center of the Arts or the Charlottetown Festival as a regional theater. I see it as a national memorial to the Fathers of Confederation that is hosted by PEI, just happens to be in Charlottetown, and belongs to the entire country. To my way of thinking, I'm not even sure that Charlottetown could or should decide that it wants to be one or the other, a national monument or a regional theater. The decision to put it there was national. The finances to put it there was national. So therefore, there should be national interest in what goes on there. In all fairness to what I said about the provinces not supporting the Confederation Center of the Arts as much as they did in the past, that's true. Some provinces still support, some provinces don't. But the Confederation Center of the Arts and the Charlottetown Festival has to ask itself when it's putting together its season or its financial package, if you want funding from all of the provinces, and if you want funding on a national level, then what does the full Monty have to do with Manitoba? And why should the people of Saskatchewan fund Buddy? And why should the province of Quebec put money in Charlottetown to produce a production of Hairspray? My answer is they shouldn't. That has nothing to do with the nation. That has nothing to do with the Art Center being a national monument to the Fathers of Confederation. That is the mandate of a regional theater. Boy, I can't talk today. That's the mandate of a regional theater. When you try and decide what goes on that stage, I think you would stand a better chance of getting funding from all of the provinces and the nation in general if you appeal to all of the provinces and the national sensibility. Just looking at historical musicals, The Wonder of It All, based on Emily Carr, the artist from BC, something on Louis Riel out of the prairies, Laura Secord out of Ontario, Evangeline out of Nova Scotia. Anne has been seen by a large percentage of the population several times, particularly the people of the Atlantic provinces. And there has to be a reason for people to go back and see Anne. Anne may not be the primary reason that they go, but if they're going to see something else, Anne may also be part of the package. For instance, if you did Evangeline, and I think there are 5 separate productions of Evangeline that I'm aware of, you could court the Acadian French from Nova Scotia. You could court the Acadian French from New Brunswick. You could court the Acadian French from PEI. You could even court French visitors from Louisiana. If you market it to Louisiana during the season that you were doing Evangeline, you would be encouraging people to come up and see Evangeline, come up to the Atlantic provinces. If you did Evangeline, you'd be marketing that show to the Acadian French in the 3 provinces. That's a good demographic to start with. And that is also a very good demographic to get people from the Atlantic provinces back into the theater, to get those bums in the seats, and then expand that from the Atlantic provinces across the country. If you were doing a Louis Riel show, then spend your marketing dollars out west, encouraging the people to come to PEI to see their story. Encourage people out west to come see their story in Canada's national monument to the Fathers of Confederation that is a celebration of the arts. I think that's a good way of building an audience. I think that's a good way of returning to your Canadian mandate. In the earlier video, I suggested that PEI had to look past its borders when looking for subject matter for the Charlottetown stage. I think that's a fair comment, especially if you want to increase financial support from the other provinces across Canada. If the Confederation Centre of the Arts took a look at the list of musicals that it has been producing on Canadian themes, I think they would find a disproportionate amount of that material based on Prince Edward Island reference sources. Anne of Green Gables, no one can comment on the success of that show. It's just phenomenal. But besides Anne, they've done Johnny Belinda, a truly remarkable, wonderful show. They've done Emily. All of these shows are PEI themed. If the Confederation Centre of the Arts was a regional theatre, I think PEI themed shows are a great way to go. But if it is a national theatre or a national monument to the Fathers of Confederation, then I suggest that its subject matter has to be broader than PEI themed shows. Look elsewhere. Look at the 10 provinces. If you go back to my original video, the open letter to the Board of Directors and the Chief Executive Officer of the Charlottetown Festival, you will notice that I outline 4 streams, 4 ways for them to get original scripts from all across this country, scripts that would recognize the diversity of the country. And they are the professional submissions, the development of a fringe season to encourage amateur writers to submit material, the fee for assessment service, which would give them new scripts coming in, which they would assess for a fee and give advice on how to develop those scripts in the future, and the playwriting competition, a national playwriting competition that would bring scripts in from all across Canada. If they followed those 4 streams, then the material that they are getting would be more representative of the nation in general. Probably the biggest question that we all have to look at is just what is the Confederation Centre of the Arts? Is it a national monument to the Fathers of Confederation that specializes in arts, or is it a regional theatre? And if it is a regional theatre, that's it. No more comments from me. They can do what they want. I just don't see it that way.